Alright then, so this is taking shape now, but we have one more icon to sort out, and that is this edit icon right here. Now, when a user clicks that, I want to take them to an edit screen, which is going to look very much like this, but it's also going to pre-populate what the current title and details are inside these two different fields. So first of all, let's create an edit project view, and then we'll hook it up with our view router. So let's do that inside here. We'll call it edit project.view, and then inside that I'm just going to boilerplate this template, and inside the template we'll just do an H1 that says edit project. We'll delete that later and replace it with the form, but for now, just so we know we've landed on that page, we'll have that simple template. Alright, so now inside our router index file we need to add a route to this component. So we'll say the path is going to be /projects, and then / we need a route parameter now to say what project we want to edit. So we go to /projects / I don't know, 1 if we want to edit this project, or /2 if we want to edit that project. And we need that route parameter because when we're on the edit screen, we need to reach out and get that document or get that object from our db.json file. All right, so that's the reason we need that route parameter. So we're going to call this ID, :ID. And next we need to give this a name, which will be edit project. And then after that, we say the component, which will be edit project, like so. But we need to import that. So I'll duplicate this and change this and this to edit project. All right, so that should all be working now, but we also need to make this little icon a link to that page and pass in the route parameter for that project as well. So let's go to the single project, which is where we output a single project on the screen. And it's this icon right here that we need to link. So we need to place this inside a router link. Let's create that tag, router-link, and close it off. And inside we want to place this span. So let's cut it from there and paste it in here. All right then. So now we want to go to the edit project component, but we also want to pass in a route parameter. And remember, in order to do that, we just pass in a params property, which is an object, and inside here the name of the parameter, in our case it's ID. That's what we called it right here, and the value of that is going to be the ID from whatever project we have passed in right here as a prop. So we have access to that project object, we can just access the ID property from it. So project.id, like so. So let's see if this works. I'm going to go over here and click on this, and it goes to /projects /1, and we see this edit project. And if we go back and click on this one, then it's not working. Let's try refreshing. Click it. Okay, now it's working, and this one is /2. Awesome. So now we just need our form right here to actually edit the project. So I'm going to just head on over to the add project component and grab this form right here, because this form and the edit form are actually going to be pretty identical. They both have the same fields, the title and the details. Now I want to get rid of the submit handler for now because we'll do that later on. And what I'd also like to do is create data properties for these vModels, title and details, so we can track what a user types into them. So let's create our data function, which returns an object, and inside we need a title, which will start as an empty string, and also we need details, which will start as an empty string. So now we have those two, but also I would like to be able to show what the current values are for the project. So if I save this at the minute, I'm going to go back to projects, and if I click on this, I would like to see this title and these details pre-populated inside these form fields. And we're going to do that by querying our database for the project with the ID of this route parameter right here. Now, in order to access this, I want to accept it as a prop in my component. And remember, to accept a route parameter as a prop in a component, we have to say that is allowed inside the route object. And to do that, we say props true. So now if we pass in a route parameter into this component, we can accept it as a prop. So now inside single project, I'm going to go, oops, not single project, sorry, edit project. I'm going to go over here and say we want props, and the prop is going to be the ID. So we have access to this ID prop now, and we can use that to make a fetch request to the data for the project with the ID. And we're going to do that inside the mounted hook, which is when this component has mounted the DOM. So after we have the form on the page, then we're going to go and try and load the data for that project and pre-populate it. So in here, we just need to make a fetch request. And what I'm going to do is store the URI again inside this URI property in the component data. Now the URI is just this thing here, and then / the ID of the project that we want to get. So we're getting just a single project. This gets all of them. We want to say / and then tack on this .id. This to reference the component, and then the prop ID from that component. So that's our endpoint, and we want to pass that in here, the fetch request. We don't need the second object right here because we're just performing a get request and we're not sending any data, but we can tack on a then method because this is asynchronous. It takes some time to do. Returns a promise. When it returns to us, we fire the function inside the then block, and this function takes in the response object. Now remember, we want the data of this, so we have to pass the response into JSON. So response.json, like so. And that's asynchronous, so we tack on another then method, and inside here we have the actual data, and this will be the project. So what I'm going to do is just log this to the console to begin with. So console.log, and we want to log the data just so we can see that. Let me open up the console over here. We have an error at the minute, so we'll see what that is. Scroll up here, and it says URI is not defined. Of course it's not. This must be this.uri because we're referencing some data, schoolboy error. So let me save that now and come over here. I'm going to refresh, and now we can see this is the project right here. It has an ID of 1, which is the route parameter, and we have the title and the details and whether it's complete. So we can output now the title and the details right here, and the way we're going to do that is by updating these properties, because if these change, then it will change the values inside of here and here because we're using vModel, and that's two-way data binding. So let's update those right here instead of logging this to the console. This.title is equal to data.title, and then this.details is equal to data.details. So we need these on a new line. Now we're updating these two properties right here with the data we get back. And hopefully now that will pre-populate these fields. So let me save that and come over here. And now we can see this is pre-populated. If we go back to projects, we can choose this one, edit it, and it's pre-populated with that data. Okay, so there's one more change we need to make here, and that's the text inside this button, because this should be update project now instead of add project. So let's change that. Update project and save, and that looks better. So next up, we're going to see how to click on this button to update the project if we make changes.